Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lakeside Chats. I'm your host, Lexia, and today I am so excited to be joined by Miss Kylie Felker. Miss Felker graduated from Furman University and has continued as the member of our Young Alumni Council, Rolled Ins. Currently, she is the president of Foster Victor Wealth Advisors, and she leads the firm with innovation to provide the best planning for their clients. Beyond the office, Ms. Felker is an active member of our community, serving on the board of both the Greenville Local Development Corporation and Opportunity South Carolina. Thank you so much for taking time to join me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
We were talking about how beautiful this office is, and I'm sure that you guys can see behind me. I mean, the view is just stunning. So, perfect choice of office.
We're pretty proud of it. Thank you.
Could you start off with, just sharing kind of after graduating from Furman, what did that look like for you? What were kind of some key steps that led you to where you're at today?
Relationships is the easy answer to that question. When I graduated Furman, I graduated in 2009, which was a tough year to graduate. There weren't a lot of jobs. I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay in Greenville, but I was pretty sure I didn't want to go back to Cleveland, Ohio, which is where I'm from. And somebody had interned at a company in town and recommended that I apply for a job. I was an accounting major. This was finance, and I thought, sure, why not? So because of a friend, I applied to a job, got the job, and I was there for the next 8 years of my career. And then after that, a relationship led me to my current job. So I would say milestones for me after graduation were all about relationships. And those are the people I credit with where I'm at today.
Do you have any advice for students about networking or beginning that networking that might be really, intimidating to somebody to begin that?
I think in general, one of the things that Furman teaches you is that you are a well-rounded, wonderful person and you have something to offer, right? You have value. And the Furman network is full of people that want to help you because of Furman. It's actually one of the best networks out there, I think. There's not many people. Now, people are busy, so obviously be respectful of time. But if you say you're a Furman grad and you'd like to grab coffee or grab lunch and have a conversation, most people are going to give you that time because they want what's best for you because that's what's best for Furman. And so I think in general, just start asking the question. Also, I think anybody that you were friends with, use them as a resource. So if you're friends with Joe and Joe's friends with Sue, Sue will have coffee with you because you know Joe. I think your parents' networks are great networks. Yes, they're going to see you as a child. They're going to see you as somebody that's their friend's child. But those are great people to get you started. And most people want to help. And so I think, just jump in. Make sure you're prepared, have questions, and then build relationships. And you'll find your flock very, very quickly.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now we've kind of focused on the positive, but I'm sure that your journey did not come out without, a fair amount of obstacles. Could you share maybe about a pivotal challenge that has kind of shaped you into where you're at today?
I think there's been a lot of challenges. I mean, I think figuring out the professional you want to be, right? Early on, I worked extremely hard, maybe overworked at times, because I was really passionate about what I was doing and I was trying to figure out my place. I think, I made sacrifices because of that. I'll never forget, I was on my bachelorette, and there was kind of a fire at my company, and I'm sitting, I'm on the call, I'm taking calls at my bachelorette party. And so I think understanding the way you're going to approach work is a hard decision as a young professional. There's no right or wrong answer, but I think defining who you're going to be, defining your values in the workplace, finding your friends. I do think it's true. The people you spend the most time with are the people that are going to shape who you are. So I think finding people that share your values, that make you the best version of yourself, finding a partner, that was a big step for me. I was lucky to find my husband early, and we were able to grow together. So that's been really fun. I think kids, I have a 3.5-year-old. Right, that'll give you some gray hairs. So I think there's been a lot of wonderful challenges, but I think as I think about, I think defining who you want to be and continuing to grow and evolve, that's probably the biggest challenge.
Absolutely, and not just in work, but definitely that's just amazing life advice. So thank you so much. Speaking about kind of a wholesome, holistic look at life, your heart for value and your heart and value for community definitely shine through between your different board works and also with your volunteering. How would you say that your love for humanitarian work kind of weaves into your day-to-day with wealth management?
Oh, great question. So I would say about wealth management, about financial planning, we get to help people every day. We get to help people plant a legacy. We get to help people accomplish their goals. Helping people is what we do. So I think when I think about the community, I am proud to be a Greenvilleite, Greenvillian, a member of this community. And so I think giving back to the community, because I'm grateful to be here, is important to me. I think Furman too, right? You guys got to do CLPs.
Absolutely.
You learn very quickly that whether it's sorority life or Greek life, I guess I should say, finding your community and then giving back to your community, it creates value in ways you never saw. So I think, I've been on boards that have created relationships that are now some of my best friends. I've been on boards where, we've dealt with a challenge that has impacted the way I see other challenges in my day-to-day. So I think, and not only is it beneficial for the community, but it's very beneficial for me. And I've met great people and learned a lot of things through community involvement.
That's incredible. And I feel like every time that you give back to something else, you absolutely will gain something for yourself. So that's so incredible that you've definitely seen that. Now, moving a little bit more to pivoting, you have made a really powerful impact in a traditionally male-dominated field.
Sure.
So what has your experience kind of been in that? How have you kind of pushed through, or any challenges that you faced in that aspect as well?
I think there are times where not having very many people who look like you can be challenging. It can be frustrating. I have been underestimated. I think that puts you in an enviable position, right? It's really easy to over-deliver when people are expecting very little. I think it's taught me to listen. If you're listening when everybody else is talking, you're picking up on things that most people aren't, and you're able to provide insight and value that other people didn't see. So I think early on in my career, I wore that as a little bit of a chip. I mean, being vulnerable, I still have a chip sometimes, right? When I walk into a room and I'm the only person who looks like me there, that can be hard. But it's an opportunity to really, make a statement. And I think one of the things that I've seen is there's more and more women and people that are getting out there and really trying to embrace the fact that they are different. And I want to be a role model for those that are coming behind me. So I could probably talk about that for an hour. But I think there are pros and cons to being a woman in finance. And I'm really excited about where finance is headed and all of the women who are having a positive impact.
Absolutely. And speaking of being a role model, what kind of advice would you give to a college student, or perhaps even a younger you, not to be cliche, but a younger you who is maybe choosing a major or looking at a male-dominated field, or just beyond that, even not thinking that somebody that looks like them, if they've not seen somebody in that field, what advice would you give to them?
Okay, well, first of all, I would say, and I'm sorry for a minute in advance, but I think your major matters very little. I think you should find something you're passionate about that's going to equip you with skills for life. If it's accounting, right? Accounting is applicable in any industry because you're going to have to understand profit and loss statements, balance sheets, etc. If you're in communication, you're going to have to write emails. You're going to have to give presentations. You're going to have to communicate with people who aren't like you. Psychology, right? You're going to be sitting in rooms with people that you have no shared experiences. Understanding the psyche, gosh, that'd be a valuable lesson for me. So I think pick a major that you're passionate about. You only get to do college once. Well, I guess you could do it a lot of times, but you're probably only going to do it once. And so pick something you're passionate about. And then as you're thinking about your future career, think about the things or the skills or the technical advantages you would have because of that major, and use those as you think about your resume. Build your resume off of those. Those are tangible things that employers want to see. And so I think your major matters, and you should think about it. But at the same time, the skills and the things you learn within that major can be applicable in so many fields. And Furman does a great job of making a well-rounded student. You've got a ton of value in the marketplace. And so I would rely less on your degree and more on the skills and tools you have and the things that make you uniquely you. Actually, one of my favorite people says something like, what are you better at than nobody else? If you can answer that question and then apply that in your future work, you're ahead of most people.
I love that. I think that that's definitely a combination of the liberal arts university and then that quote that you're saying. I just love that because I think sometimes it's really tough for all of us that we're competing at such high levels, with ourselves, but also sometimes with each other, and
Sure.
just not being able to really speak to your own self, or not wanting to seem egotistical and kind of striking that balance, but really finding what makes you unique, I think is so important.
And I think we all have value, right? And I think right now in college, you're competing with, your peers for the best grades. But when it comes to the workplace, right, all of those people have a place to shine, and collaborating and being able to work with people who are different than you is what will make you excel in the workplace. So I think using it as a tool and a point of leverage versus letting it hold you back.
Absolutely. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Was there a specific moment that you realized this is the right path for me? Maybe you were in your major, or I guess when you were kind of deciding your major even, were you like, yes, this is going to be my passion project for the rest of my life?
Absolutely not. I am proud to have an accounting degree, but I would say finance is adjacent. I would say I never really saw myself in finance, and I kind of fell into it. I'm very happy to be in finance, but I think what I thought of finance is very different than the finance I do today. I think financial planning, working with people, getting to help people, like I mentioned earlier, that aligns with something I didn't see as a passion, but is a passion for me. So I would say I was a little bit slow to that. I maybe didn't even know what I was passionate about. But I'm grateful for relationships, and I think that shines through as my passion as I think about where I am today and where I want to go long term.
So beyond just the relationships that you get to build with people, what else kind of pushes you forward? What inspires you, either inside work or maybe outside of work?
This is going to sound a little cliche, but I am constantly inspired. I think little things inspire me. I think people inspire me. I think moments inspire me. I am one of those people that says I am a glass half full person, but I'm also just grateful there's a glass, right? And so I want to see the good in everything, and I think it's the little moments. Somebody will share something with me, connecting with a friend, right? Seeing a friend find success. There's nothing more powerful than that. I'm encouraged when things don't go well, and you're able to find the silver lining, or you're able to work through a problem and turn it into a really positive outcome. I think problem solving is something that I do every day, but I also think looking at problems as opportunities, that inspires me and encourages me. There's nothing more fun than when you see somebody have a light bulb moment, whether that's a client or somebody on our team. When you see somebody like really find their momentum, nothing more inspiring than that.
Oh, I love that. And kind of touching on that too, could you tell us a little bit about what you do in the Greenville community? I know we touched on your, volunteering and board work, but could you say a little bit about what you do?
Sure. So I serve on the Greenville Local Development Corp, which is an entity that looks to create catalysts in the Greenville community with usually entrepreneurs that are looking to bring jobs and value to Greenville. I am on the Children's Museum board. That's relatively new, but that's been super fun. My son is a constant visitor there, so that aligns. And then Opportunity Greenville, a friend of mine is, he's an innovator, but he found a way to leverage tax credits in opportunity zones to create real value in the Greenville community. So I'm sitting on his board there, really just in awe of what he's doing. But yeah, I would say in general, I'm doing a bunch of different things that are taking me outside of my comfort zone and are really fun to be a part of.
I feel like continuing kind of the Furman experience outside of that.
That's
I know
true.
that everybody's just so hyper involved now in college, and so I'm kind of looking forward to being out of college and getting to see how that also, continues.
It's hard, and I think you can overcommit. I think I still overcommit. Mm-hmm. I love to say yes. But I think finding a couple of things every year and then rolling off when your board term is done and finding different things. I think, as Furman people, we are generally type A and love to overcommit, and I think it's a wonderful problem, but definitely one that you'll realize follows you through life.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So what kind of legacy do you hope to leave either here or in our community, in the world? What do you hope to leave behind?
That is a heavy question. I hope that the people that I interact with and the people that I love remember me fondly as somebody who was there for them, who showed up for them, who encouraged them. I want to be intentional with my time and my energy. And I want to make sure that I'm kind but honest, that I give truth and grace. And I really hope that I'm able to be part of a growing and thriving community, both in Greenville, both with Foster Victor, and both with my friends and family. I think if I'm able to, when my head hits the pillow every night, if I'm proud of the work I've done in the day and the decisions I've made, that will be enough for me.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, you're
this
welcome.
Was so much fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you.
It was amazing to have you on the show, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Lakeside Chats with Lexia. I hope you all have the best week, and I'll see you guys next week.